so let's finish this problem. We're still trying to solve for x, so I'm going to divide both sides by negative 100.82. And these cancel, and I get that the cosine of x, let's see, here's my calculator, negative 85.61 divided by negative 100.82, and I get 0.837.137.076. And therefore x, in order to solve for x, I need to take the inverse, because I'm trying to find an angle. I knew I was going to have to take an inverse. So these cancel, and x equals the inverse cosine of that 0.849137076. So I do inverse cosine 0.849137076, and it's 31.88 or 31.9 degrees. If I'm rounding to the nearest tenth. That's the smallest angle. So this angle right here is 31.9 degrees. Alright, let's do another one. Let's look at this next example in triangle XYZ, and I can label it any way I want. X, Y, and Z. Little x is 12, so that has to be across from angle x, so this would be 12. Little y is 14, and little z is 16. So I'm asked to first find the measure of angle z. So this is the one that I want to find. It's that one right there, which means I'm going to say 16 squared is equal to the other side's squared, okay, minus 2 times 12 times 14 times the cosine of z. Alright, I'm going to keep going. When I square 16, I get 256 is equal to, I'm going to go ahead and do my 12 squared plus my 14 squared, 340, minus 2 times 12 times 14, 336, z, oh, not z, cosine of z. Cosine of z. Again, can't subtract those because this is being multiplied, and multiplication comes before subtraction. So I'm going to subtract 340 from both sides. And so 256 minus 340, I get negative 84 equals negative 336 cosine of z. So, still trying to solve for cosine of z, so I'm going to divide both sides by negative 336. Negative 84 divided by negative 336, and I get 0.25 cosine of z. Got to get rid of that cosine, so I'm going to take the inverse of it, which means I got to take the inverse of both sides, which I knew, because to find an angle, we need an inverse cosine, so z equals inverse cosine of 0.25. It's approximately 75.5 degrees. Now, I'm also asked to find the measure of angle x. So let's do that one now. I'm going to do that one up above here. Okay. So I'm going to do the same thing. Still going to do law of cosines. This time I'm going to do it with 12 squared and cosine of x. So 12 squared is equal to the other two sides, 14 squared plus 16 squared minus 2 times 14 times 16 times the cosine of capital X. I know this is 144. Let's see what 14 squared plus 16 squared is. 452 minus 2 times 14 times 16, 448. Now, when I get to this step, I'm really just like an Algebra 1 equation. Can't do this because you have to do multiplication before subtraction. So I'm going to get rid of this 452 from both sides. And 144 minus 452 is negative 308. Negative 448 cosine of x. Divide both sides by negative 448. Cosine of x equals negative 308 divided by negative 448. And I get 0.6875. Inverse cosine. So x is the inverse cosine, 0.6875. So 46.6 degrees. Okay. Right, so we've done lots of law of cosines. Now, every one that we did, we were always finding an angle. Sometimes we're going to have to find a side. But I'll tell you, finding an angle is more work. When you have to find a side, when we get to problems where you have to find a side, you're going to love them because they're much easier, much faster. But there's one other thing I want to show you while we're on this page. And it's the area formula for a triangle. You always learned in geometry that area was 1/2 base times height. But that meant you needed to know the height of the triangle. You needed to know the perpendicular height. Well, we don't always know that. So I'm going to give you, other than law of sines and law of cosines, another thing we're going to do is area of a triangle. And again, if we're in triangle ABC, the area is 1/2 little a, little c, sine of capital B. So notice, whatever the sides are, you're taking the sine of the angle that is not one of these sides. Or it's 1/2 AB sine of C. Or it's 1/2 BC sine of A. So I want you to think about it in the picture. A, B, C. So this is A, and then this would be C, and this would be B. It's if you know this angle here and the two sides that make it up. So when you know this information, you can find the area of a triangle. Or if you know this information, C, sine of A, B, and C, or you know this corner of information, angle C and sides A and B. So this is the area of a triangle formula. And I want you to see how we could use that. Let's go down to one of these triangles right here. So this triangle here, we learned that this angle right here is 31.9. And so I'm going to use this corner right here of this triangle. The area equals, I shouldn't say A, that'll be confusing. Area equals 1/2. These two sides, 7.1 times 7.1 times the sine of 31.9. So it's the two sides and the included angle. So let's see what that would be. 0.5 times 7.1 times 7.1 times the sine of 31.9. The area of this triangle is approximately 13.3. And I guess that would be, did they tell me that was meters squared? If we came over here to this triangle, okay, we know angle Z is 75.5, and we know these two sides. So here are the two sides and the included angle. Area equals 1/2 times 12 times 14 times the sine of 75.5. All right, let's see what we get. 0.5 times 12 times 14 times the sine of 75.5, and I get 81.3 units squared. What I want to see is, do I get the same thing, because I also know angle X. What if I used this corner of the triangle? Area equals 1/2 times 16 times 14 times the sine of 46.6. We should get close to the same thing. Not going to be exact because these are both approximates. Let's see. 0.5 times 16 times 14 times the sine of 46.6. And look, 81.4. So that's pretty close. Okay? So that's the area formula. So now we know law of cosines, we know law of sines, and we know the area formula. Right. I've added this example in because with law of cosines, I haven't done one yet where I asked you to find the length of a side. So I've drawn just a regular ABC triangle. And let's say we know that the measure of angle A is 145. So this is 145. And the length of AB is 15. And the length of AC is 13. Which means, and then I'm looking for the length of BC. So this is the side that I'm looking for right here. I'll just call it X. Or I guess I'm going to call it little a, because that's the side that it is. The little a. Okay. So for my formula, I'm going to have little a squared equals 15 squared plus 13 squared minus 2 times 15 times 13 times the cosine of 145. Notice that's what I have highlighted in blue. So this one, I think you're really going to like. This one's really easy. Because we have everything, we can type all of this into the calculator. So here, I'll clear here. Right? 15 squared plus 13 squared. And the calculator knows order of operations. Minus 2 times 15 times 13 times the cosine of 145. And I get 713.469297.3. Let's make sure I put everything in correctly. Good. Okay. And now all I have to do is take the square root. And I don't need plus or minus because